me about it. Come on, let's talk about it. Change up the things you see. Open your mind to possibilities. Find your power, passion, and your purpose. You know it's time for you to walk in greatness. Let's murder mediocrity. Slay your goals, live out your dreams. Right now. Inspirational perspective.
5 steps, 5 simple tips for achieving your life goals. I think if you listened to the show last week, I'm really concerned about our community. And I'm concerned about our community in a lot of ways. Our health. I'm concerned about how we relate to one another. I'm concerned about the tension between man and woman. I'm concerned about our enterprises, our businesses, our financial competence, our financial clarity. But I'm mostly concerned about our lack of purpose and our spiritual disconnection. And what is happening in the world? We talked a little bit about it last week, where I kind of coined this next era. I really, some years ago, I gave a talk, and I talk about how the information age will only be about 35 years and how we were coming to the end of it. I believe 2023 clearly marks the end of the information age. When I say that, that doesn't mean information is gone. The same way, the Industrial Revolution, there's remnants of the Industrial Revolution that are still here, right? I mean, from how we go to school, the list goes on. So the information age it remains, right? The same way the industrial age remains. We still have factories. We still have all those things. We still, for the information age, we still have Google and access to the internet, etc. But the era begins to shift. And as it shifts, so does how we do things and how things get done. And I used to say that it would be the robotic age. And that was slightly flawed in that the robots themselves aren't the thing we have to worry about. It's the technology running the robots, the artificial intelligence that runs the robots, that is going to change, or that is beginning to introduce to us a brand new era. Now, that being said, in many ways, as a community, we've already been replaced in the trades. I was having a conversation with a few other friends of mine about the trades themselves, partly because I'm doing some renovation projects and looking for tradesmen. I know there's some of you out there, but very few that look like me and that bring a high level of quality and excellence and a promise to their work. And so there's a lot that as a community we are missing, and there's reasons for that. But I do believe that part of how we begin to rebuild is very simple. And you rebuild through the goal-setting process. We rebuild by honoring our personal commitments and intentions. Honoring the word that we give first to ourselves. Because if I don't honor my word to myself, then it's very unlikely that I will honor my word to someone else. Now, some of us are built like that. Like, we honor everything else for everybody else, and we give ourselves very little. And then, again, that's still a problem, because what happens is that person gets used up fairly quickly. And typically, they don't have the resources to properly support other people because they're giving to folks so much. So they're depleted. Our folks that want to give are depleted, which means they can't give properly. So we got issues. And I believe that how we begin to really get underneath those issues are the goal setting process, which is why I push it so much. If you look at nature, during this season, there is something that's happening. And there's a germination process. And the germination process is where there's a getting ready for life. There's a kind of a preparation for what will come next. And this is one of the reasons I wanted to talk about intentional dreaming. And Mama D hit it on the head when she said, were you talking about visionary? Like, absolutely, because in October, I think it was October or November, we spent 2 shows diving into vision in particular, like into what vision is. One of the things I don't do is often I get on, I begin talking about things, and there are people who may be new listeners who don't really know me. And so I want to talk a little bit about who I am and the people that raised me first. My dad, who grew up in Cabrini Green, and as an adolescent was hit by a car, pinned underneath the car, and suffered a terrible head injury. And to this day, my dad has a scar across his forehead from that accident. What it gets me present to is how dynamic and how sensitive life is. And the reason I say that is because if my dad had been killed in that accident, there'd be no Linnell Harris. So the fact that he survived it, and the fact that he survived it and had his function, right? Because he could have been paralyzed, he could have been a vegetable, and all that would have changed everything. That each movement that we make impacts something else. And the fact that God spared his life, I think sometimes and I opened up the purpose course yesterday saying the same thing, that sometimes we don't realize why our lives have been spared or what we missed. And it's because there's a purpose that we serve. There's a reason for that. Like, he's so blessed, he's so lucky. But when you really, really look deeply, there's a real clear purpose for why things happen and why you're here and why we're alive. And do you know why you're alive? Do you know your purpose? Well, my dad's life was spared. And despite the odds of growing up in Cabrini Green, because he was inspired to be more, and he set goals and took action, I'm here today. My mom grew up on the south side of Chicago, where she learned that one of the top high schools in the city was on the north side of Chicago. So she applied for admission to Lane Tech and got into Lane Tech. And every school day for 4 years would commute back and forth on public transportation. And this matters, man, because my mom is who taught me. And the education she received there was phenomenal, and she was able to pass that on. But she set a goal that she wanted to be educated by the best and did everything she could to take action to make that happen. Graduated from Lane Tech in 1975. Married my father that same year in September. This is how sensitive things are. I don't know how they did it back then. Graduated, think about this. Graduated high school, like May, June 1975. Married my father September 20th, 1975. I was born August 22nd, 1976. I ain't waste no time. I ain't waste no time. My father was 19 years old. My mother was 18. Well, when they had me, 20 and 19. Just think about that. Like, wow. Like, wow. So these children, in many ways, when you think about your 20-year-old and your 19-year-old, how old are you, man? 27 years old. Could you imagine having an 8-year-old right now? I was 8 when my dad was 27. So my parents raised me. One of the things I will say is, despite the odds, they were very intentional and they set clear personal goals. Very clear personal goals. So as a child, my parents would share a lot of stories about their struggles, about their triumphs. My dad would talk to me about Cabrini, you know, things that happened to him there. And they shared what they knew to share to make, you know, create who my siblings and I are today. Here are the two things that I learned from my parents. The first thing is, I can do anything despite the odds if I'm willing to set a goal and vigorously pursue that goal with every fiber in my being. Like, that's one thing they let me, like, Linnell, you can do anything you want to do. And I hope right now, if you have children, that's something that you repeat to them on a regular basis and that you whisper in their ear when they're sleeping, to let it rest in their conscious and subconscious mind. That you can do anything that you want to do. Justin, you should be telling those little girls that, man, whispering it in their ears. You can do anything that you want to do if you set a goal and vigorously pursue it with every fiber of your being. Now, let me just focus on that right quick. Every fiber of your being. And I just want you to think about the intentions that you have right now for your life. The intentions that you have for maybe the next quarter through March. The goals that you set, maybe going into this quote unquote new year. And are you pursuing those things with every fiber of your being? Are you? Because this is one of the reasons we quit. Most of us aren't vested. It's nothing more than a wish or an idea. And we've got to we're so far behind as a community. We got to get past the wishful thinking and the ideas and start setting hardcore, concrete intentions and commitments that we're willing to fully invest ourselves in. Despite what people may think about you, you can create powerfully if you think about yourself in a powerful way. So, I believe my life story is a model of this truth. And a few years back, I was told by a friend that, you know, Linnell, you're an anomaly. You're an anomaly. Like, you know, it's what you've achieved is like abnormal. You know, you lie outside the data. And I believe the only reason I lie outside the data is because of my commitment to the goal setting process. Like there's nothing that makes me that much different when you look at how I grew up. I'm a black male from Chicago. As a child, I needed speech therapy to learn how to speak. I mean, you know, all of us, you know, children there's always something, right? I had that something. I struggled to communicate my thoughts orally when under pressure, well into my 20s. I got kicked out of college due to poor grades and never graduated with my bachelor's degree. Like, how many black men in our community got this story? They have this story. And there's more. But the thing that I believe distinguished me is my willingness to invest myself wholly in what I believed I could achieve. Like wholly, like fully invested. Fully invested, like burn the ships, invested. Nothing to fall back on, invested. So here I am now, and I've had the opportunity to live, work, and travel to over 40 countries and 350 cities around the globe. I'm a globally recognized speaker, a radio host, which I still tickles me when I, somebody who couldn't talk well, communicate well. I started in an entry level in corporate America, a job that I didn't even know for sure I could get. Somebody gave me an opportunity, and then I climbed to the level of vice president and officer of a Fortune 500 company in the next 12 years. I'm a global entrepreneur, certified ontological coach. I have thriving global businesses, all of which align with my life's purposes. I'm married. My wife and I are financially stable and secure and happily married. I have 2 children. It's like a miracle. When you put the contrast between what I share, like where I came from and where I am now, it feels like a miracle. But there's really only like maybe a 2% difference in my activities from the average guy. Like only like a little small percentage of things that I did differently. Because I made mistakes, like let's be clear. But that major difference for me, somebody said, what was the entry-level job? I entered data. I was like a staffing specialist. And I entered data. I turned down, get this you all, I turned down the mailroom job. Because I was like, when they gave me the pay, I was like, well, I mean, the job I have ain't that good right now. But I want you, like, this is what, when I went into corporate America, I didn't have a degree. They were like, well, you can work in the mailroom. You could push the cart around and pass people their mail. I was like, it'd be cool, but, I mean, I make more detailing cars. And that's what I was doing. I was washing and detailing cars when I was 22, 23 years old. After getting kicked out of college. I mean, that's what I knew how to do. And so I still can put by the way, a mean shine. Right? You don't forget some things, right? I can put a mean shine on a black car. Anyway. So that was, entry level. They wanted me to be in the mailroom. I'm like, nah, that's, I'd rather be out here with these cars than to, be pushing the cart around, somebody telling you what to do, when to come, when to go. And then they called me back and they said, we got this other job. It looks like you got some skills on your resume. You know how to build databases in Excel. And I decided to take this class. Even though I got kicked out of college, I went back to Triton College and I took this computer course. And that changed everything. That's how I got that job. And it's the small things, man. And I want us to really see that today. Like, it's the small things. So as much as someone says, Linnell, you're an outlier, I want you all to be clear. The only reason that I can be considered an outlier is because I would set these little small goals and just go do it. Like, I need to know this. Computers are where everything's going. I'm going to go take this course. I showed up, did the work, got an A, graduated. And believe it or not, taking that course, that little computer course to build out access databases, for those of you who remember that, you got to be my age. You know what an access database is, Ade? Justin looking like, huh? Right? Access was a Microsoft product back in the day when I was in my 20s. Yeah, and you could build out a database. And this is, believe it or not, in certain parts of corporate America, they were housing their data in an access database. This is back when call centers were new, like in the 90s. And people, you went from the Sears catalog to now you could actually call somebody and be like, hey, I want to buy this. It was all brand new. I'm dating myself. Anyway, took this course, man. I just set a goal. I'm like, I should take this course. And the reason I'm saying this is because we live in this microwave society, people, young people, they want to go from broke to millions in like 3 months. Right? And it's kind of like, don't work like that. Don't work like that. It's a process. And the process requires that you set goals and go after the goal with every fiber of your being. I firmly believe that anyone who is considered capable and average, because let's be clear, like Lionel Harris, as a young man coming up, was capable and average. Like capable and average. And setting goals and being willing to set goals are part of what helped me distinguish myself. Now, I can't take all the credit for anything that I've achieved. There are many people besides my parents who believed in me and pushed me and mentored me. And I was sharing a story yesterday about one of my mentors with the people who took the Purpose course. But I would say the one differentiator that made me a so-called anomaly or an outlier has been my ability to set goals and then take action to achieve them. To set a goal and then take action to achieve that goal. Today, I assist clients all over the world with doing the exact same thing. I assist CEOs, I assist members of C-suites in doing that same thing. And I help folks set huge, scary goals and then provide them the coaching support to then go get the goal. That's what I do for a living, among some other things. So goal setting is one of my superpowers. And I want to share it with you guys because it's changed my life. Again, I firmly believe that anyone that is capable and average can do anything that they put their mind to, that they have the ability to be more than average if they are willing to set and achieve their goals. Now, when I say capable and average, I believe everyone's a child of God. You guys know what I mean. We're all special and unique. But at the end of the day, most of us, when you look at the data, are floating in the majority. We're not in the 1%. We're not making it move. We're not in the top 10% of income. We're not in the top 10% of athletes. We're not in the, and so that's what I mean by capable and average. There's a quote in the book where I wrote, "The future is a place we create with the action or inaction we take today." Like let that sink in. The future is a place that you create with the action or inaction that you take today. So, what does that mean? If you're unsatisfied with your current condition, then a change in behavior is necessary. So I want right now, for those of you who are listening to this broadcast, I want for you right now to get present to the spaces in your life where you are dissatisfied. Like, look around you. Are you satisfied with what you see? Are you satisfied with your surroundings. And I'm not talking about a lack of gratitude here. What I'm talking about is taking stock of what you can transform in your life. When's the last time you looked at yourself and said, I can be better? Like, I can do better. I can take better care of myself. When is the last time you looked at your relationships and thought about how you, not the other person, that's what we typically do. If Ida was better, if Pam was better, but what can I do to transform and recreate my marriage? What can I do to transform and recreate my relationships? My dealings with money? What can I do to transform my financial situation? That's why the goal setting process is so powerful. What happens next in your life depends a great deal on you and what you really want to happen next. Let me say that one more time. What happens next in your life depends a great deal on what you really want to happen next. Really want. One of the things I said in the first hour is when I set goals with every fiber of my being. Full investment. What do you want to happen next in your life? So badly that you're willing to fully invest yourself. What does that mean? What does that mean? Here's one thing that it means. I can guarantee you, in my early 20s, if I heard a show like this and the brother said, download my book for free at slayyourgoals.com, I would have been on my phone like, yo, where's this at? I would have read the book. Like, if I heard that first hour, I'd have been done. Who is this? I'm reading everything they have. Because that's just how I felt about what I wanted to create. I told you all how I bought things, I bought products and things from people who were racist, who wouldn't even shake my hand. Who wouldn't even shake my hand because it wasn't about them. It was like, you got gold over there. I need that gold. I need that gold. So you might not like me. You might not like my kind. You might not shake my hand. I'm cool with that. I'm still going to give you this money for that product, for that gold, because I have goals. And I need that. I need that information. Like, do you want it that bad? You want it that bad? Some folks, they be taking out. I ain't buying nothing from them. Like, but I'm going to tell you right, I'll still do it if they got something I need. If it's something that will change my family's future, I'll still do it. Like, he's a known racist, Linnell. I can't believe you purchased his product. I'll purchase it, I'll study it, and then I'll teach it back to y'all. That's how serious I am. Like, I don't care. He messed up when he put it on the free market. Why put off something that can change tomorrow's tomorrow in a positive way if you start it today? Let's talk about tip number 1. Resolutions don't work. Resolutions do not work. If you don't set resolutions, I get it. They don't work. They don't work. Oscar Wilde said, good resolutions are simply checks that men draw on a bank where they have no account, which means they bounce. Those are checks that bounce. Now, think about the word new. New. We like new. New is fresh. New is untouched. New is modern. New is the latest. Like, everybody want to have the latest, right? We like new. New is just new. And the thing about new is defined as not existing before. This is why folks like new, like, I got the latest, the latest shirt, right? It's like, that's new. Like that, man, where you get that from? That didn't exist a couple of days ago. And this is the thing about us in our community. We walk around like we ain't even wearing something new, or like we ain't driving something new. We just act like it's normal. Whole outfit new. We'd be like, oh, this. But new, man, is everything. Think about it. A new romantic relationship. You meet your boo for it's new. Woo! You can't stop. Remember when you first met your wife, Justin? It's like, man, I remember, boy, first time I saw Pam, who is that? My mom was the whole night. Who's that woman? Like, I got a business card. I was, you looking at the biz like that's going to do something. Whew. Smell it. Brothers know what I'm talking about. Like, man, woo, new. What about a new house? Like all the new possibilities of a brand new home. A new car, no mileage on it. When you first get in the car, all you do is look at the odometer. I went 10 more miles in a new car. Where should I go? What should I do? You get out your brand new car at Target, acting like you had it 10 years. Boop, boop. Everybody like, oh, that's, hey, bro, what's that? Oh, it's not, it's nothing. No, it's new. And newness has a way of exponentially increasing our creativity and possibilities. Like new things. Like a new romantic relationship, you're like, man, this could be it. This could be my wife. This could be my husband. All of a sudden, you didn't put the brother in a tux. You got him walking, to the altar, while you look through the window so you can come down the aisle later. The brother standing there, he see himself standing there like, oh, man, if she looked this good, I only imagine what she looked like walking down that aisle. New. And see, then we celebrate new. New babies. New marriages. We celebrate this. And even with all the excitement of new, many of us still fail to adequately plan and create a vision for that new life. So new relationship, what's the vision for the relationship? Where do you see it going? This is why so many things end so quickly for us. Because we don't know where we're going up here. I always say you start with the end in mind. If it's new, then what does it end like? When I met my wife, I understood this. I already saw her as an old woman. Her and I together. Children grown. Spending time with one another. Spending time with grandchildren. Like, do you play it out like that? This is why many times we don't have staying power, because you don't even know where you're going, so why would you stay? New job. Most of us, we go into the new job with new clothes, new shoes, new everything. First day. Then the job don't last. It's their fault. Maybe it's your fault. You didn't have a vision. What were you going to create? What was going to be next? In my opinion, you should start a new job already thinking about, and this is where I'm going to go. This is what I'm going to create. This will be the next position. Now, when you have a vision and you create a plan, the beauty is now there's something that you can execute. But many of us fail to do this. Many of us fail to fully execute on our vision and fail to execute on our plan. And this is largely because humans don't like change. Now check this out. As much as we like new, we don't like change. Now, how does that work? Like, and this is the thing about human psychology, because many of us, we're walking contradictions. Don't even realize it. Walking contradictions because we don't like change. I can guarantee you we don't like change. Don't change nothing. You want to make somebody mad, go change something. You can just change how they walk in the building. People be complaining. Well, why they change the door? It's cold outside. Like, we hate change as human beings. And this is one of the reasons why goal setting is so hard, because goal setting introduces change. While it introduces new, and new is cool and nice, as new sustains itself, it requires that you change. It requires that you change. Oh, that new romantic relationship? Now you have to change. You can't go out with your boys every Friday night and keep her. Ain't gonna happen. Then like, why she always nagging me? Because you didn't change. Requires change. This is what's so tough. And humans largely, we don't like change, and we definitely do not like uncertainty. But life is uncertain. So as a result, there's an enemy within us that will do whatever it can to prevent change, even the change that represents progress. Let me prove this to you. Let me prove this to you. Only 8% of people are successful in achieving their New Year's resolutions. 8%. Why? Because it's a change. You got to change something. You got to change your health habit. You got to change your relationship habit. You got to change your money habit. You got to change your work habit. You got to change your spiritual practice. So you got to change. And humans don't like change. That's why 92% of the people that set a resolution don't achieve it. 92%. 92%. So this is why when you intend to change something, you have to put structures in place. You have to write it down, because change requires that we reprogram ourselves. You got to reprogram yourself for change. And when you write it down, you're actually 10 times more likely to achieve the change, to attain the goal. Now, here's the thing. I'll say that, and folks still won't do it. And if you don't, only 1 out of 10 will actually achieve what they intend to achieve if they don't write it down. The reason these 5 simple tips haven't worked for people is not because the tips don't work. It's because they don't work the tips. It's that simple. Right now, if you've been a Slay Your Goal member for years and you're not achieving your goals, you're not doing what you intend to do, you haven't created what you intend to create, it's not because what I'm teaching doesn't work. It's because you're not following the teaching. It's that simple. How do I know this? Because I've been doing it for 2 decades. Everything I'm about to go through, I've been doing for 2 decades, and for 2 decades, I've been building brick by brick by brick in a way that would have someone call me an anomaly. I'm not an anomaly. I'm just a goal setter. And if you start tracking down goal setters, then you start saying, oh, they're anomalies. That's it. You want to be an anomaly, and your family and your community become a goal setter. It's that simple. Well, the word resolution has a number of definitions, and the definition that aligns with the concept of a New Year's resolution is simply this: an intention made, a course of action, method, procedure. And the definition itself explains why most of the resolutions don't work. Because we have the intention, but what's missing is a plan. And you need a plan that plots out a course of action and defines the method and procedure that you will use to take action to honor the intention that you have. Now, here's the thing. As soon as you turn an intention into a plan, you got to go. It's no longer a resolution. And that's why resolutions simply don't work. And this is one of the major components to setting successful goals. Tip number 2 is clearly defining your success. If you don't know where you're going, it's very unlikely you're going to get there. Where are you going in your health journey? Do you even have a health journey? Because you're not going to magically just get better. You're not going to magically drop weight. I would believe that most of the people who are overweight have an intention to lose weight. And they've had that intention for decades. Now, some folks have given up completely. They like, I don't care what it is. I'm going to eat. Like they don't care. But most people, they have an underlying, and by the way, this is what creates the stress and tension in our lives. Because we have all these underlying intentions and things that we desire and things that we want, and we don't honor them. So then what we're doing is we're teaching ourselves that your word doesn't matter. Your intentions don't matter. And if you don't honor yourself and honor your intentions, you're teaching yourself a very dangerous lesson. This is why many of us, we lack what we believe is self-control, because we've played ourselves so many times. Think about this. I gave the example last week. Like if I played Ide on his pay over and over again, he wouldn't be working for me long, right? So imagine if you play yourself. If I played myself over and over again, I stopped believing myself. So I say things with my mouth that I don't even believe. And because I have a poor or low level of personal integrity, like just with myself, I have no personal power. Your personal power is wrapped up in your personal integrity. So check this out. Clearly defining success. Most of us work a 9 to 5 or some iteration of that every day. So at our jobs, either we set our own goals or a leader sets the annual goals. And either way, we typically receive some type of indicator for what success will look like at the end of the year. Just think about your job. Like there's always an indicator for what success will look like at the end of that fiscal year. Hey, we need to hit this goal. Notice that, right? You want to know why your job has been around. Some of them, they'll celebrate their anniversaries. I was at a company the other day, and the guy was giving me the sales pitch, and he was like, our company's been around for 113 years. I'm like, that's impressive. As an entrepreneur, I'm like, that's impressive. He's like, the family that started this company, they're still involved. The son, he'll sit right here in this office with me sometimes. He was giving me the whole spiel this past week. He's a down-to-earth guy. And I'm thinking, like, you proud of that? Like, this is how I'm thinking. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm like, you proud of working for the guy he's telling his story. He's telling their story. No shade. He's just talking to somebody that doesn't think like that, right? I'm like, I don't mind somebody telling my story and feeling like that about the company I created, but I tend to want to create it. That's how I operate. Anyway, he's telling me 113 years. So I'm talking to him about some of the things that's going on in that industry. He's like, yeah, he's giving me the company goals. He's clear. This man was clear on the company's goals. Now, I can guarantee you almost, if I start to swing the conversation on him and ask him, so what are you going to create this year? How are you going to take yourself to the next level? So the company's going to achieve X. What are you going to do? He would have been like, I haven't thought about that. That's most folks, 90% of us. I not giving that much thought. You haven't given your own life that much thought, but you are clearly defining success for the business you work in. We can shake our heads, but this is what we do. So then when it comes to personal goals that are based on our own dreams and our own aspirations, we often skip the vital step of creating a clear measure for success. How do you know that you're successful? And we do this because most of us never create personal goals. Most of us are operating within someone else's goal. Most of us are so consumed with somebody else's goal that we've completely crowded ourselves out. I'm a boss's nightmare right now. I'm a boss's nightmare right now, and I want to be. So they'll sit up and tell you, they'll send out a newsletter, you all create your resolutions, because they know they're not going to last, and all you're going to do is fall right back in line. The actual goal is missing in most resolutions because resolutions are not goals. All right. So let's talk about why people mess up. Here are some examples. Here's some popular quote unquote, if you can't see me, if you're listening, I'm doing air quotes with my fingers. Here are some popular quote unquote resolutions. Like, I resolve to lose weight next year. It's so bad, some people don't even do it no more. They're like, What's missing in that statement? You're like, what's wrong with that, Linnell? I mean, at least they're saying it. Here's what's missing in that statement. How much weight will you lose? How will losing that weight make you feel? What will you look like once you lose this weight? Why does losing weight matter to you? That's what's missing, because it ain't going to be easy. So you got to answer a few questions. All these questions in the book, by the way. You can go to slayyourgoals.com, download the book. You know what? I'm going to read more this year. This is a big one right here. People are like, I'm going to read a book every week. I'm going to read 52 books. January 15th, they ain't read one. Why? But here's why. Here's why. You can say something like that and it doesn't happen. How much reading would that require of you? How many pages a day would you have to read? Why does reading like that matter to you? What will reading more shift in your life? See, like, when you get clear on that, like, man, okay, if I read, and by the way, I tell people, like, don't go so hard. Like, read 12 books. If you ain't read one book in a year, read 12. Like, you're going to set a goal to read 50? It's the same with going zero to a million. I'm broke now, but I'll be a millionaire by the end of the year. It's like, why don't we just make 100,000? That's a tall order. That's a tall order in itself. Without a clear vision for success, what happens is your end game is unclear. You don't even know when you win. How demotivating is that? And this is the number one reason why most resolutions and goals don't work. A real goal is nothing more than a very clear target. Now, focused energy. Focused energy. Like, just let that sink in real quick. Focused energy. If you had focused energy in your life, what would that transform for you? Focused energy. Focused energy. There's some things I don't even get involved with because I'm so clear on what I'm up to. I get phone calls sometimes. Hey, Linnell, we'd like for you. Oh, Linnell, can you join this podcast, or can you do this? It's kind of like, it just don't align. I'm like, okay, what's in it for me? This is what I teach my clients. Like, you have to understand how to enroll people and how to be enrolled. Some of us, if you're a yes person, it don't even require enrollment. there's nothing in it for you, you're saying yes. Podcast? Yes. Like, well, what's the podcast about? And what would be in it for me? Can I talk about my book? Can I talk about my Slay Your Goals coaching community? Can I talk about coaching? Can I talk about the things that, well, we know we really kind of just wanted to pick your brain on this. Oh, no, I'm good. Focused energy. Focused energy. You say, well, Linnell, that's mean. Why would you do that? It ain't about being mean. It's about being intentional and focused. Every moment that you get, that means something that matters to me in my life is not getting that moment. My health is not getting that moment. My wife is not getting that moment. My children aren't getting that moment. My business is not getting that moment. God knows, like right now, I don't have enough moments for my business. I'm going to give yours. Focused energy. Focused energy. Now, here's the other thing about clear targets, and this is psychological. A human psychological response. See, clear targets can be missed. And most of us, we live our lives avoiding failure. We live our lives avoiding failure. And so, Linnell, if you have me set a clear target, that means I could fail, and I don't want to be a failure. So I'm just not going to do it. And so the human psychological response to failure typically equates to loss. And we don't like loss. We want to avoid loss. As a matter of fact, we're psychologically wired to obsess over our losses more than our achievements. So because of that, we avoid setting clear, intangible goals so that way there's no sense of failure. Now, what sense does that make? So I don't set goals so I don't feel like a failure and ultimately I fail in life. I would much rather be disappointed with myself here and there about my lack of performance or something I need to improve than to look up at my life at 80 years old and realize I didn't do anything. Here's the thing. It's going to catch you. The sense of failure is going to catch you. You might be able to elude it now. I was watching Debo yesterday. That brother. You already don't want to get in his way. But even if you try, he can get around you. Somebody like, who's Debo? 49ers running back. Right? The brother, man, that's how some of y'all elude failure. Oops, spin move. But it's going to catch you. It's going to catch you. I do not want failure to catch me at 80 where I have a sense of regret because I was afraid to fail in microcosms of my life. Whew, can you imagine? I'm avoiding setting goals because I don't want to fail. Only for me then to be standing greeting people at Walmart and realizing every day that I fail. Nah, I'm good. Why is Walmart greeter like the ultimate failure? Why is it? I don't know why that is. This could be somebody out there doing it that actually enjoys it. That's why they retired. I shouldn't say that because they retired. They got good money in the bank. They just like saying hi to people. Good morning. How you doing? Good morning. I already know it's a brother out there he got money in the bank, drives a nice car, is sitting all the way in the back of the Walmart parking lot, and he just like to get up and go, hey, good morning. How you doing? Good to see you. All right now. All right, cart's right over there, man. You need help with the baby? Okay. Right, he good. So I shouldn't say that, but y'all get my point. But all his co-workers, they don't want to be there. So we avoid the feeling of loss while still losing. Ooh, that's wrote in the book. They need to tweet that. We avoid the feelings of loss while still losing. How does that happen? Because we tell ourselves stories. I didn't really want it. I didn't really want to do that. Well, everybody else does it. Everybody eats dessert during the holidays. And then April, May, June comes and you're like, why I look like this on the beach? Well, because everybody eats dessert over the holidays. Man. And this is why so many of us feel stuck. You feel stuck. So what happens is we do the psychological thing. We tell ourselves, I'm okay. But deep down inside, you know you are not living to your full potential. And what happens is your life becomes mediocre. That's a curse word to me. That's a nasty word. It's a nasty word. It should be put in the same lane with every other foul word, mediocre. Your life becomes mediocre. Ooh, it just tastes nasty. Mediocre life. This is why I say, murder mediocrity, right? People get mad at me, but something that's that nasty, you got to be violent with. Mediocrity is just nasty. I don't know about y'all, but I do not want to be considered. And see, this thing, nobody says it at the funeral. Nobody says, well, Linnell was a mediocre man. But you know when somebody's been mediocre most of their lives. Whew. Man, do you want to get caught being mediocre? And here's the other thing. Some of us, we're actually doing well, but we're not living to our fullest potential. And so our well is actually our mediocre. What about that? What about you? Because right now I'm speaking to somebody, you've done some things. Like you've created some things. But it ain't your best. At best, it's mediocre. That's a nasty, nasty word. So this is why we want to clarify our personal goals. Most of us are we're forced to set professional goals. If you're an entrepreneur and you haven't set goals in your business, I think this is one of the reasons why, it just hit me. I believe this is one of the reasons why most entrepreneurial businesses don't last. Because I leave corporate America where I was forced to set a goal, or I was told what the goal is, right? I don't know how to set goals on a personal level, so my leader always did it for me, or someone else did it for me. I was forced to set the goal professionally. And I'm like, I hate this job. I'm going to start my own thing. And so I go out and I become an entrepreneur. I leave corporate America, but I don't know how to set goals. And so what happens, and we see this all around us, what happens is the business fails in a year or two because there was no clear definition of what the end looked like, at least the end of the year. Or you see people who, and it happens, I feel bad. I saw a sister the other day. I'm like, oh, you still doing a real estate thing? And she's like, no, I sell Vitalife. It's like, oh, okay. Oh. Didn't you used to do that? No, that's not what I was doing. I was selling this. I was like, that's right. Yeah, okay. Good to see you. Eesh. Like we all know that person, right? Every year or two, it's like a new thing. And it's the hottest thing, and they get on your nerves about it. And you looking at them like, come on, man. And if you're that person, it's about time for you to become aware of how other people see you, because they see you as mediocre, honestly. And this is why your family, people be like, my family don't support me, my friends don't support me. But you might want to consider the reason they don't support you is because it's going to be the next thing the next time. Last time I bought all your products, and when I called you because I had a problem with the products, you was already with another company. So we're forced to set professional goals in the workplace. Whether we like those goals don't matter. And then we work sun up to sundown to meet the expectations of those goals because We associate that success with a paycheck or a bonus. That's the celebration. That's the reward. So psychologically, we correlate our paycheck to our survival. So our job becomes our main focus because we are motivated to survive. This is how employers win. Because once they have you believing that your survival is dependent upon them, it's hard to shake. My survival is dependent upon showing up tomorrow morning. I can't survive unless I do this. So in the meantime, we have little to no clarity on our personal dreams, aspirations, and goals that really matter to us. Do you know what really matters to you? Well, the idea is that you define your success by clearly creating personal objectives and measures that you hold yourself accountable to, just like you do in the workplace. The big difference is these objectives are emotional. See, a personal goal requires an emotional component. This is the magic right here. Like what I'm giving out, this book is for free, slayyourgoals.com. What I'm giving in this book, man, it's for free. I remember I did a couple of interviews with Perry, and she was like, we would go to break, and she'd be like, why are you giving this away? You should make them pay for this. And I'm like, no, man, we need to know. We need to know. Even when it's free, somebody listening still hasn't downloaded the book. Slayyourgoals.com. Go download the book for free. So here are some questions. If you want to get clear, we're talking about clearly defining success. Here are 3 questions that you should be asking yourself. Number 1, can you see what success looks like in your mind? Do you have a clear mental picture? A clear mental picture. Number 2, is the success you envision upon achieving this goal mentally and emotionally compelling? Last night, the purpose course, somebody said, Linnell, what do you mean by emotionally compelling? My answer was, when you think about it, you can feel it. When I think about the goals I have for 2023, I can feel it. Who was that had that song? I can feel it coming in the air. Phil Collins, yeah. Like that, feel it. I still don't understand why that song was so famous. Number 3, what will your experience of life be like when you accomplish the goal? See, here's the thing. When you know how your life is going to transform, you're willing to navigate the resistance that will show up to the goal. Because I know where I'm going. This is what it looks like. My wife and I, we've been working on a particular goal together. We've encountered lots of resistance. Even with the resistance, we have not discussed stopping or quitting. We're so clear on what we're going for. Like, well, how are we going to figure this out? My wife hasn't even said, like, you think we should keep going? Like, okay, what are we going to do? Well, how are we going to figure this out? We're that clear, like, because we know what it's going to feel like. It is emotionally compelling. It's an emotionally compelling goal. Now, if you have answers to all 3 of the questions I just posed, that means that you have clearly defined your success. If you don't have answers to that, your success is not clearly defined, which means your chances of success are low. You can look at the 3 questions, if you download the books, slayyourgoals.com. You just go there, free download, slayyourgoals.com. If you can't seem to answer these questions, then check out the questions labeled What's Missing to gain more clarity. And I have questions in the book that say, what's missing? So what's missing? How do you know you've reached the goal? How will you feel when you achieve the goal? What will the goal produce in your life? Why does this goal really matter to you? That's likely what's missing if you can't answer those 3 questions. Here's the other thing. As John was talking, what came to my mind is somebody out there, you've been punched in the gut by life. Like you've been hit in the mouth. And maybe it knocked the wind out of you. And the motivation and inspiration, it's like, I tried all that, Linnell, and it didn't work. And this is where support is so powerful, because when you're a part of a community of people and you take, when I tell you that these tips work, like it's not like I think, no, I know these tips work. And you take that to become part of a community and get support, like this is where if you get punched in the stomach and the wind knocked out of you, it's always good to have somebody that can grab your arms so you don't fold all the way up. Because when you fold up, you can't get air back in, right? I need the brothers to hold me up so I can get the air back in my chest. And if you've ever had the air knocked out of you, it's an awful, awful, awful feeling, right? I remember once playing football, I got hit so hard, I thought I had died. I was like, is this what death feels like? Because, it wasn't no air mile. I was like, nothing. Then it was like, and then I'm like, oh, I'm okay. A couple of downs later, I was back on the field. You know what I'm saying? I'm okay. And that's what it is. Like, you can still be okay. Bounce back from that. We was talking about the fight last week. Who fought last week, man? The brother. Anyway, he won. But the guy he knocked out, you know what I'm talking about? He nice with it. Garcia, he's nice. He's nice. And it's like, hey, that punch he took that ended everything might be just what he needs to be the next champ. Because he gave him problems. And it's like people look at that as, oh, that's failure. You didn't win. But sometimes it required that punch because the next time you'll never get hit that way. You'll never get hit like that again in your life. So, do you not get back in the ring? Like, does that brother not get back in the ring? Or when he gets back in the ring, I'll never drop my left again. I'll never drop my left again. Right? And now you're just better. If life has punched you in the gut, it's knocked the wind out of you, punched you in the mouth, just know with the proper support, and if you mine the gold from that failure, you will be better if you're willing to get back in the ring. Get back in the ring. Play your game. Play your game. Hey, my inspired peoples. Linnell Harris here, certified ontological coach and trainer. I'm so excited that you're watching the channel. By the way, did you know you can catch the show live at 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. every Sunday morning? You can. All you have to do is go to my Facebook stream, Coach Linnell Harris, catch the stream live, or you can listen to the radio show via iHeart at WVON 1690 AM. But since you're here, if you love the content, I ask that you share it, like this particular video, and subscribe to the channel. I hope you're having a great day.